Welcome to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. This is the only podcast that gives you a raw and unfiltered perspective of what it's really like to be a professional cheerleader. Whether you're currently on a pro team, an alumni, or really curious about what it takes to become a pro cheerleader, the Pro Cheerleading Podcast gives you all the inside scoop and hot topics in the pro cheerleading industry and in-depth interviews of current and former cheerleaders. I'm your host, Makiba. Join me every Wednesday as I reveal the truth behind the Poms. Welcome back to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. That was a very short hiatus. It's your girl Makiba, and yes, I'm back. I missed you guys. It was really hard to decide to take a break, and thank goodness there is an amazing and inspirational reason to come back with a bonus episode for you guys. Thanks to Michelle Vaughn, who has been a very active participant in our virtual happy hours every week. Please join us. There's been a few women that have joined week to week, just talking about how they're doing and how they're preparing for auditions and just sharing, just a sense of community and connecting with one another. And thankfully, through the virtual happy hour, Michelle put me in contact with Terra Saunders, who is this special guest for this episode, Rise Up. And you will see that this is a perfect title for this episode, just based on Terra's spirit and the way that she can kind of just revive herself and bring herself up from the toughest of circumstances and end up making a huge impact in her business and in the community. You may have seen on social media that I've shared the story that, she's repurposed her factory for Dallaswear, making uniforms for NFL, NBA, audition attire, and now she's completely repurposed everything to make personal protective equipment for healthcare workers to fight coronavirus. Not only are these masks and gowns available to healthcare workers, you can buy them for your loved ones, your local nursing home, your grandparents. I bought a box just because, governments are starting to have more guidelines around what to do to protect yourself when you're out in public. And I'm seeing them all over Seattle now where people have masks. And I just think it's something that is amazing for her to do, to be able to engage her wonderful team at Dallaswear to doing something that actually can help in the community. So I don't want to give too much away, but Terra is amazing. She is an inspirational leader. She is so passionate about her country, about her team at Dallaswear. And when you hear of her personal triumph and the way that she's overcome her fears in pursuing her business and taking it to that next level, and what she's done in these last couple weeks with her team is just truly, truly inspiring. So without further ado, let's kick it off to the interview with Terra Saunders. You look beautiful. I feel like crap for just looking like I rolled out of bed.
Oh my God, I've been in the factory all day. I was like just putting on lipstick. I was like looking at it, I was like, how ratchet do I look?
No, I'm the definition of ratchet. This is clearly just so we can see each other. And
you said that, and I was like, okay, I'm putting on lipstick just so, how like right now you just want to feel good. No,
I hear you.
Because it's been so crazy. I put on perfume a second ago, and I was like, what am I doing?
No, but I think that's my new task for this week is to pretend as though I actually have somewhere to be and just, because I'm over the schluffiness. It's really starting to.
It's cute for 2 seconds, and then you're like, am I even a woman anymore? What's happening to the world?
Right.
So,
I shaved my legs today because it was more an act of like, you are getting your life together.
That makes one of us.
Oh my gosh, Terra, I'm so excited to finally meet you. I mean, I feel like I'm fangirling for so long. And
oh, you're so sweet.
No, definitely. Just so impressive on so many levels. And when I saw you post about just repurposing your entire factory, I've just been like, no, we're talking this season. Every season that we've launched, it's been like, you've been on my wish list of people to talk to. And so thank you.
I'm so grateful. I'm glad to give you the time. So this is great because it's also just a moment to chill because we're even manufacturing today. I mean, the factory's open. So
on a Saturday, that's amazing.
Got to do what you got to do. So this gives me a moment to sit back,
reflect on.
Have a little sparkling water. Live my best for a minute. So I'm all yours.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. And I feel like it's just too much of a tease to wait till the end. So we might be working our way all, like, not in chronological order, but just to, I can't wait to talk about what you've done. Like, so everybody will know that you are obviously the owner of Dallaswear and that you produce the most amazing uniforms and audition attire.
Thank you.
Please help everyone understand, like, what led to your decision to repurpose your factory. Was it the slowdown in auditions with everything kind of being put on hold, or just how did that decision come about for you? And I apologize in advance for jumping all over the place because there's just so much there.
No, it's all good because that's how my mind is lately. Do you kind of feel like you're in a dream sometimes?
Yes.
Okay, because that's how I feel. So yeah, same here. So thank you for the compliment about Dallaswear. I mean, I started Dallaswear a million years ago, 20 years ago, back in my bedroom, with one sewing machine. And so to see everything happen now and then think about last Monday, literally it was like a week and a couple of days ago, everything a few days before that, to be honest, was normal. No, normal meaning business-wise.
Gotcha.
Meaning girls were ordering audition stuff, football season. It was almost like, America, we saw what was going on. I don't want to speak for everybody, but, it's just that positive energy of things are going to be okay and keep it moving, that keep it moving energy that I think kept all the sports going and everything going. And then the day that NBA decided, we're going to stop the NBA, it was like, and
right.
Everybody, and I'm sure you did too, like, what? Okay, what? America stopping sports, it got real in that moment.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely remember, even with doing the podcast, I mean, right now it's just like, okay, I guess I'm going to do a hiatus because it's just like our whole world in this space, right, has just completely stopped. And I know things are trying to move forward virtually, but it did get real for me too. Like, wait, okay, so that means not only just the NBA season for all the current dancers, but also an NFL audition season was like, it's insane. I feel like it's more insane even than NBA, just the numbers of people and just like it just takes over in spring. And that was just like also to a screeching halt. And I was just like, whoa, this is a huge disruption.
Yeah, it's a thing. And it was always real before that. I mean, human suffering, everything, whether it's going on in Dallas or in America or halfway across the world, it got really real that night. I was like, okay, NBA. And we were working on stuff for playoffs for our playoff teams. So, I mean, it's like in the works about to happen. And so we knew right away that was not going to happen. And then business wise, let's keep it real. That's a nice little chunk of business. Obviously, we have been so lucky to work with teams that become champions, so
right.
Our teams that wear Dallaswear, maybe it's the positive energy, maybe it's the lycra, maybe it's the designs, I don't know,
maybe
but it's the end. And anyway, so that went to a screeching halt, and then it was very soon after that NBA went to a halt too. And I don't know if you guys know, but we have another company that's a part of ours called Waitressville.
Yeah.
We do waitress uniforms. It's actually the bigger part of the business because we have restaurant chains. And it's made under the same roof, but we keep them very separate just because the marketing is very separate. So if you think about it, it was like, okay, well, sports is going to slow down, but
we've got the business over here.
There's restaurants, we're fine. And it was like, you thought, so then like every restaurant closed and, obviously our country started to take this thing in a very, very quick, very serious direction once everything started happening in New York. So business-wise, it was no cheerleading, no restaurants. And this happened in days. So it's like having everything turn itself upside down very quickly. And it's so ironic that my business revolves around the men and women on the sidelines. Because like I am not a sit on the sideline person, when it comes to seeing things happen. And two things. I love this business. I've had it for a long time. I love my factory full of workers. I love them. They're my life. My husband is our CFO. So this is a family business, as well as this is America, and they need us. I mean, there are doctors and nurses out there wearing trash bags and bandanas and things like that. So I was like, I can't let all these machines just sit there. I've got to figure out something. So it was not gradual. It was like overnight. What are you going to do? Are you going to chill and wait it out? Or are you going to do what a cheerleader would do and say, how can I help? What can I do? Just like you said, am I going to take a hiatus, or am I going to talk about what's going on?
Right. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, I have so many questions, and I'm going to try to organize fashion. So I just love this perspective as a business owner because, as you follow the news, I know there was a period of time, as you're trying to follow all of this where it's like, why aren't businesses stepping up to help? I don't understand this lack of supply. And that's when I think when I saw that you would open up your factory to try to help fill that gap. And so I just love how nimble smaller businesses can be in terms of making decisions. It's not this bureaucratic, it's going to take all of this, approval, that approval, figure.
Totally.
Can you speak to just that snap into it factor, like what that even looked like from a planning perspective to be able to make, protect PPE, but I forget what it stands for. I wrote it down.
Personal protective equipment. I know. Isn't it funny? A few weeks ago, that is like a thing. Like everybody knows what that is in that industry. It's not a weird word, but now it's like, it's vernacular for everybody. I mean, I didn't know what do I know about a mask? I make booty shorts and cute tops and
blinged out this and that.
It's like, what do I know about all this? So you have 100% hit it the nail on the head when it comes to that smaller business under 500 people being able to be nimble and make a decision. There is no bureaucracy and there is no going up the chain. The buck stops right here. Right here with me. And when I say, this is what we're going to do, this is what we can do, are you coming with me? It was one of those moments. And so if I'm keeping it really, really real, because that's what we're going to do, right?
Yes. True.
Okay.
Poms.
So this was, I don't even know what day it is. It's like it's April 96th or something right now. Okay. This was like, I guess a week ago. The Dallas County, are we in a time?
Just recently went in lockdown.
Like 2 seconds ago. Are we on a time crunch, or do you want all the deets?
Oh, I want all of it. You
want all the details. Okay, you're like me. You're like, give me those.
No, I love it. I am so here for every second of it.
I have time today. Okay. So it was we were like blowing going. We were just like, nothing stops us, rain or shine. We're Dallaswear and we're doing our thing, And then, but there was a moment when the Dallas County said, the Dallas County judge said, we are in a stay home order. And that means that if you're not an essential business,
right.
And that's it. Sorry, but that's all there is to it. That means our audition orders, we couldn't come in. I couldn't have my staff working here. That was it. And the only reason that especially in Texas, that they would do something like that, like you got to stay home. We're a very independent folks down here. Mm-hmm. To stay, to tell a business that they have to close. It must be really, really serious safety situation. So we take that very seriously, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I've been in business for 20 some years, and I had to lay off everybody the next day, everybody. And it was devastating. I mean,
how many people?
I had to lay off like 20 people. It's tough, and these are some people I've known who've worked here for 5 years, and, they come in and work hard every day. We have parties together. We have 4th of July party, birthdays, Pride party. I mean, we're a tight crew. But the point is that, we didn't know how long this was going to last. And I wanted them to take advantage of anything they could as far as getting unemployment, et cetera, et cetera. Since you're asking like the details, I'm giving you the
real deal. I feel like probably everybody's been in this space of trying to, reading articles or watching the news. And there's so many different accounts that's making it more real, but it's been a lot to process and understanding, like I said, and not even just from a business perspective, but
just the real tangible aspects of it. Because if you were in a position where you weren't able to repurpose your factory, essentially that would have completely shut down your entire operation. The way that you were able to repurpose it so that it could be considered an essential business saved jobs and families from just not having any income. We all know that unemployment is going to take quite a bit of time to process for people. It's just been surreal. So talking to you is making it's a lot harder.
Yeah, you think it's happening to someone else, and then it happens to you, and it happens to people you love, and it happens quick. It happens quick. And, you know, we are a thriving business. And I'm grateful, and we've all worked really hard for it. But at the same time, I don't know anyone from Apple to, you know, someone who works at McDonald's, which I did, by the way. I worked at McDonald's and I worked at Burger King when I was younger. I was Employee of the Month 4 times. Thank you very much. But that's another story. We could talk about that another day, all the jobs I had before I started my own business. But anyone who could go indefinitely, or at least, you know, it could be up to 4 months without any income coming in and all expenses going out. Still got to pay rent, still got to pay mortgage, still got to, you know, all these things and taxes and everything. So making a decision to let your employees go and get unemployment and take advantage of that so that they can live, as opposed to, you know, trying to, you know, protect myself and my unemployment taxes that can go up because of that and things like that. It wasn't a choice in my mind. I had to think about my employees and think about this moment. What can I do? It is a very difficult decision whether you have 1,000 employees or you just get laid off.
Right.
It is painful and it is scary. And I did it. I totally did it. You're actually the first person who even like knows this really outside of, I guess, my personal circle.
Right. Wow.
Because it's just not the part that people want to really talk about. Yeah. This real life stuff, because it makes you seem like, well, why don't you have $1 billion in the bank? Or why don't you do this? And everyone wants to point and say, like, this is what you should do. And, you know, everyone's got to do what's best for them. So cut to that day.
Yeah.
I did what I had to do. And that night I went home and I did like anybody would do, just brokenhearted, confused, scared for myself and my family and my life. Like, I mean, I was just like every other American. And then the very next morning, and that was a Monday, on Tuesday, I was like, all right, enough of that. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I talked to my husband, and we were like watching the news all day long, because, you know, there's nothing but coverage and you can't not watch it. Like, and we were like obsessed with it, and just watching all these nurses and stuff, and they're saying they don't have masks because we don't make them here in the U.S. And I was just like, my blood started to turn red, white, and blue. I was like, I have to do something, you know? And this whole just like American factory, American dream, I can do this cheerleader energy, just like, just whipped from my toes to the top of my head. You know, I was just like, here we go. It's on. Like when you're about to go on competition floor.
Yes.
You know that feeling where you're like, oh, I'm about to give it to.
I wish people could see us. We're both like taller in our chairs, like shoulders back, like we got this. Hair flip. Yes.
So it was just that energy, and I was like, I mean, nothing could touch it at that moment. And so I went to the factory. My husband came in. He's in his office down the way. I'm in mine. And I went out on the sewing floor, and I was like, I'm mask. Okay. Started looking at pictures, started looking up. I made the pattern for the mask, made a pattern for the gown while he's searching for the polypropylene fabric, which is obviously something we don't use. I mean, we use spandex. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So he's finding the fabric and the regulations, not for the N95, but we wanted to do the fabric that they could use in the medical facilities, the one where, you know, the droplets keep, sorry, it's a long day.
Yeah,
I can even say polypropylene at this point, but you know, it's the whole point of the water resistancy of the the
So
fabric.
droplets won't like
Exactly. That's
can't
the
see through the fabric kind
right. Exactly. So they're not the cutest ones. There's other retail ones people are selling that are cute. This is for health and safety. So I made the pattern and sewed up a sample and decided that people aren't going to know to go to Dallaswear uniforms because we make uniforms. It's weird to go there to do this. So how can I let people know that we're making PPE now? And I said, okay, so wait a minute. Now we make PPE. Yesterday we made uniforms. Now we make PPE. Okay. And I bought a website. Now we make PPE.com and got that going. And I put the products on there, the description, and explained in a couple of pictures what we did. A picture of like our uniforms. And it says, yesterday we made uniforms. Now we make PPE. That's the story. Go online and order it. And we just started sewing, called everybody in and said, get back in the factory. We're going to do this. It's going to work. In my mind, there was no way it wasn't going to work.
I love it. I love it. I'm just like, I have chills just because I feel that energy and this is so recent, like not even like, this is looking back,
I know.
This was like, so like yesterday.
It's like yesterday.
Yeah. And just the feeling that I know you had to feel of like, we could actually help, because I feel like we're all struggling with this feeling of helplessness to some degree where you don't know, there's too much despair in the air, you know what I mean? And just to get that different energy of like, there is something we can actually do to help, and being able to call your workforce back in. And man, that must have just been like even more energy. Like I said, I have just chills just because everybody's united around that purpose. And it's just such a need. It's ridiculous. I shared it right away on our Instagram, and this is all happening, not word of mouth, but you're just really just trying to get the word out so people know that you are doing this. So I'm assuming people are picking up on this. And
dude, it was like grassroots, like
love it.
So grassroots, like it's like the story you hear about, because it's been a minute since I started Dallaswear, so marketing is always marketing, but you have a name, you have things to show, people know you. I mean, like that's Dallaswear, but starting this right away from the beginning, I mean, we just rolled the dice. I mean, I have a warehouse full of this fabric. Like I can make 1 million masks, you know what I mean? Like that's my plan, to do the 1 million masks, for us to do as long as this takes. And so we really was like, how do I get this started? And so everyone in the factory was back, but our office folks, I only had 4 people. It was me and Paul, that's my husband, our CFO, and then 2 other people, our president and our head designer. And we just like grassroots divided up the work. And then I asked for some volunteers, some friends of mine who are amazing, who are like, look, I got the time, I'm laid off, let me get these numbers for you. And we were calling every mayor in Texas because we were starting in our own home, This is where I am. So we're calling mayor in Texas. I was adding Cuomo, because he was saying we need PPE. I was like, come and get it, but we had a team here working on everyone in Texas, calling mayors, calling fire departments, letting them know who we are. We were posting and tagging everybody, everything. It was literally just like a political party where they're just, like running for mayor, local mayor.
Yeah, literally.
It was
phone bank, whatever you call it. Yeah.
A phone bank. And I had friends just spreading and saying, I know a nursing home. I know this. I know that. And then, before we knew it, I was having meetings at this is days ago, huge hospitals, and talking to them about quantities that blew my mind that they needed. Blew my mind. And I wasn't even touching, they were having other manufacturers do things. It wasn't even touching the need of what they were preparing for just our state, so that they could be ready for a couple of things. I don't want to like freak people out, but not just helping people who get sick, because there will be lots of people, but testing. And when you test someone, you have to be covered too. And then you have to throw that away every time. So to test every Texan, and you're going to need a lot of stuff. So that is how it went.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been living on Funyuns, Topo Chico.
Funyuns.
Maybe y'all don't know what Topo Chico is up there, but it's like sparkling water. Because we've been in the factory, we've been killing it. my executive team, my staff, my head designer, Kate, has a computer at home. She's working on the computer here. I mean, she's like, I have the mayor of Laredo on the phone, you know? I mean, it is so, it's just, I haven't even had time to really cry, you know, and I'm just in such gratitude that I can be of service. I love this country so much for what I have been able to do with my life, you know, and as a Black woman, you know, I know that what I wanted to do by owning this business and employing all these people would have been it's almost impossible, period.
Yeah.
But it would have been very impossible anywhere but this country. And we have a lot of problems, but in this moment, I feel gratitude that I can help anybody and as many people as we can. And so, yeah, you're
getting me so emotional. Oh my gosh. Like, I mean, just imagining the hours and the time and the emotional investment in all of this, and just having a team around you that can ride this journey with you and just plug right in. And God, I would be so overwhelmed. Like if this is the first time that you're getting a chance to kind of just reflect and even speak about it in a way that's just thinking of all the things that you guys have accomplished in such a short period of time. I mean, shout out to your team. That's incredible.
They are incredible. They bring me so much pride and so much joy. It hasn't even been a thing. I mean, we are 6 feet apart as much as we can be, but we are a working factory. You know, people could say, yeah, you know what, this doesn't work for me and I need to be at home. And no one has even flinched. No one's even mentioned it. We wear masks at work. We wash our hands so constantly. We have antibacterial everywhere. We wipe everything down. We Lysol it. We do the best we can. But we know that right now we are risking it to do what we need to do. But man, the opportunity to make a difference is, yes is the only answer for me. And to know that they're down.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm super grateful for it.
I'm blown away, and I wish there was a way to just scream thank you to all of them on behalf of like everybody, just because I was looking at the website that you created, and you know, just that this is not just hospitals. Like, people can actually buy a box of masks and send to people that in their life that they know that needs protective equipment, whether it's their grandparents, parents, you know, somebody who's a nurse or in the field where they can actually have their own supply, or just a local hospital, nursing home. Like, it's just really, you just feel empowered of even knowing. Like, I have a friend that's in Florida and her husband's a firefighter, and, you know, I don't know if there's a need, but just being able to spread that word and say, hey, you know, all the way in Florida, there's a place where they can actually buy equipment. It makes you feel like you're doing something, you know, that can actually help, or just spreading the word of something that's positive in a time where we're bombarded with not the best news. I'm grateful. And I don't know if I'm just emotional right now in general. I feel like this week was a tough one for whatever reason. And you feel like you're managing, and then you're like, okay, I'm not okay, you know?
Yeah. And it's okay to not be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's coming. Any moment I'm going to finally cry. Do you know what I mean? Because I am a human, and I'm a grateful, emotional human, but I'm a leader, and I'm tough, and I have balls of steel.
Yes.
I got pom-poms of steel, but man, I am human, and this is touching every one of us in a different way, and I'm learning new stuff every day. So my best friend 2 days ago was like, hey, I want to donate a box of these to someone, and I don't know how. And I was like, well, it's online. Just like put a note in the notes order part that you want for them and put their address in the ship to. And she was like, oh, I didn't even think of that. And I'm over here in my business bubble and I order, our company orders things all the times and ships them to blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't think that regular folks didn't think of that. So that's when the second part of it was just a small marketing thing and post and get it out there. But I was like, ship a box of masks to your fire department. We've had fire departments drive up here to our, drive up here. They find the address and they're like, hey, I heard y'all got masks, and they're like, we want to buy some. And I'm like, how can blank, blank, blank fire department not have any? And they're like, we're not a hospital. We're fifth in line, we're 10th in line for this money and supplies. Anyway, so I made that post so people could send it to their parents or whatever. And they were like, you wouldn't believe the amount of people and the sweet notes that they write, just like on behalf of our family to the nursing home that's close to them, or their favorite nurses at their blah, 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 or just plain like to the nurses at Memorial, or very, very specific ones to the fire department that helped them with blah, blah, blah. Or their parents. It's really touching because it's 50 masks, but people aren't supposed to be out. So there shouldn't be a ton of need for them. Let's keep it real. Right. If you gotta go to the store and you have this thin little thing that you're like, if someone sneezes, I'm okay. How you said it makes someone feels like they are doing something. I want to tell everybody it's not just, I'm just doing this little something. It doesn't matter. It matters so huge because I'm only making tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of masks. And there's other companies that can produce millions. But it doesn't make my contribution to this country or your contribution. Just because you can't help everybody doesn't mean you can't help somebody. All of us are just asking one person, on their block who is elderly and leaves a note on their door. Hey, if you need anything, I'll go get it for you. Or you sending one little box of masks to someone in Florida, or just spreading the word and saying, I know a place where you can get the plug. That's why we're going to get through this, because we're Americans and we're cheerleaders. Damn
it, that's the other thing too. It's like, come on. We can't stay in this space too long.
No, they need us. This is our moment to shine.
Exactly. I just feel your energy so freaking much. It's ridiculous. Seriously, big fat air hug. I already knew I'd be inspired talking to you, but you're just so right. Like, this is kind of like who we are as people. Like, we are cheerleaders, not meant to stay down long. And we do have palms of steel in terms of just, that resolve. You know what I mean? No matter what you're dealing with, no matter what you're faced with, you're just going to kind of pull it together and then just give it your all. And that is exactly, what it's going to take for everybody. We can't just kind of like lay here and just let it all happen to us and just stay in a state of despair. There's little things that each one of us can do, I think, for sure, to affect change, whether it's spreading the word, sharing positive news, energy, love, all of that is
dancing, the TikToks. I mean, it's such a small thing. I don't even have TikTok, so I watch them on Instagram. But when I get home at night and I am exhausted, just looking at, I just don't, like, I can't with the news at night. I watch updates during the day, but I'm in the factory. So at night, looking at all my friends and their crazy kids and the awesome dances on TikTok, it has been my joy. It really has, because I know so many cheerleader types. I mean, I just surround myself with positive people, and it has really been a joy. All of us, and you know what I mean when I'm talking about us, like cheerleaders, we've cheered way more games where they've lost than they've won.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And so that's what we're there for. If they always won, then what's the point? We're supposed to like bring people up around us when, the poop is falling from the sky. So
in addition to rain, snow, sleet, whatever.
Thank you.
You're just there.
It doesn't matter. Your mascara is stinging your eye. The edges are busted.
Yes.
You just keep going. Like I said, I am human, but I'm feeling the gratitude in this that I can help. I'm healthy right now, and I'm going to help as long as I can. And I hope that others do the same, whatever way that is, even if it's just sending out positive vibes, listening to this podcast and sharing it with someone, another cheerleader, and hopefully being honest about what has happened to Dallaswear in the last week, it may make another person not feel so, or another business owner, not feel so alone that it happens to a medium company and a small company and a big company. And it's what you do with what happens to you, that really matters. So
I seriously can't say enough. Like, your leadership shines through just being that strong in your resolve of what direction the company was going. And from the outset of looking out for the best interest of your team, it may sound like if people are listening to headlines of companies going through layoffs or how they go about it, it's the way that they treat the people in the process that really matters. You're just taking such good care of everybody. I think they rallied around you, and I just think it speaks to your leadership and vision. I just love how it just took over, and it just has been rear view since then, just full steam ahead. I mean, there's so many other questions, but I'm like, I can talk about this literally the whole entire time, but
you can ask me anything you want. Anything you want. Okay, so hold on. Here's this one. So this was like 2 years ago. My friend from high school is the principal at Texas High School in Texarkana, which seems like a small town because it's like Texas, Arkansas, Kansas. It's like this town, but it is massive. Like, it's a school of like thousands and thousands of kids. It is just huge. So I went there to, it's called Texas High, and I went there to speak to their fashion design class.
This is the article that I saw.
No! That's so funny. But here's the tea on what happened, though. Okay, so I went to speak to their fashion design class, and then while I was there, they were like, can you go meet the drill team and the cheerleaders? So I was just going to talk like a little bit, and I spent the whole day there, and that just different periods. And then I went to talk to the marketing class. So I guess I was a hit, but I'm going to tell you why, though, because I told them when I go to talk to the class, I'd kind of talk about what I wanted to talk about, and it was fear. To me, that the F word is fear, and how fear had kept me from relationships and certain successes and things I wanted for so long in my life, and how I, started to deal with my fear of different things and to, become what I am today and how I still deal with it. So that's what it was about. And then afterwards, after I finished, the grown-up talk, I was like, okay, so I'm going to give you all the opportunity that you've never had. I'm a grown-up, okay, but I'm not a teacher and I'm not a parent because I don't have any kids. I was like, I'm not a teacher and I'm not a parent. So you are going to get a grown-up who will answer whatever you want them to answer. I'm not going to answer as a teacher or a parent. I'm just going to answer you straight up. Whatever you want to ask me, here's your chance, and you're going to get the scoop. And they were like looking around like, for real? And it was funny because I started with ninth graders, and as it got, they were like just really sweet questions, Dude, when I got to the seniors, I mean, all the things you ever wanted to know from a person, they just were like, how much money do you make? Why don't you have any kids? Da-da-da-da. How many bedrooms do you have in your house? I mean, it was so cool to just be with, just to see like the people don't change, It is, we're all the same, wanting to just know, like, how can I have this? How can I do this? I absolutely loved that experience of talking to those high schoolers, because no one ever gives you this, not real deal, but you don't get the real scoop sometimes. And when someone is being honest with you about their experience, not what you should do. I don't know what anyone should do. I don't give advice. I don't know what anybody should do. Ask me about me, and I will tell you as much as I can about my experience, good and bad. So they were living for it.
I bet they were. Oh my gosh, you're so brave.
It got to the point where the teacher was like, don't ask that. And I was like, no, go ahead. I was like, I said I would ask anything. So
I mean, that's what we all need, I think, especially at that age in high school, you don't have those opportunities to have real conversations with people. I mean, It either goes down, especially when outsiders come in, it's like either preachy about, how to live your life, what you should be doing, shouldn't be doing. Right. That had to be a huge hit. Do you go back every year?
I haven't gone. It's only been 2 years, and I wanted to go back this year, but obviously, it may not be till the fall. It may not be next year, but 100% I'm going to go back. And the cool thing is that they were asking things that, you just, I guess, aren't supposed to talk to people about. And if nobody cared about this stuff, you wouldn't have websites like Celebrity Net Worth, where everybody wants to know everybody's business. You know what I mean? So it was cute. Honesty is
refreshing.
It's rare, and it can be fun. It can be fun. It's freeing, you know.
It absolutely is.
That's so crazy you have that article. That's so funny.
I always do this. And like you said, maybe it's the fear thing, and I would love to hear more thoughts on that, because that was definitely something I picked up from the article, just how you work through it and overcome it. Because I think there's that fear. Like, I think I emailed you maybe, and I was just like, well, I'm sure she's busy. But you're just afraid of like asking, you know, or afraid of putting yourself out there. But how would you describe that journey for yourself? And how old were you, I guess, in terms of trying to, where that light bulb went on of like, this is how I need to approach anything that I want to go after in life?
It's, to be honest, the process was slow. The process with me was really slow. It was first identifying it. You know, I didn't know that because I always thought that fear was being scared. You know, if a tiger is in front of you about to attack you, that is reasonable fear. You know, that is being scared of heights, So when I thought about, do I have fear? I was like, no, I'm not a person that has fear. I'm not really afraid of snakes or spiders or heights, I guess. But the fear that held me back, you know, when I was younger, that I'm talking about, is fear of rejection, fear of standing out, fear of not belonging, fear of not being good enough, fear of all those kind of things that prevented me and prevent some other people, I would assume, from not pursuing something, not pursuing friendships. You know, when I was growing up, my mom, her name is Terry. I'm Terra. And she's amazing. And it's funny because I look at my hands. You see me when I'm talking, like, this is my freaking mom right here. Like, this is us. Like, you always say, like, I'm never going to turn out like my mom. And I'm like identical. Like, we're the same person. She's amazing. But, you know, she worked really hard raising me all by herself, you know. And, you know, it's funny to kind of pop back to when this all happened, like last week, when they closed schools. And the first thing that I thought of was the kids' lunch, because I was on reduced lunch and free lunch. And, you know, because my mom was just killing it out there working 2 jobs so that I could be in like a really good neighborhood and have a really good public school to go to. And even before that, private school. You know, she did that when I wasn't in the best neighborhood. And then we moved specifically, and she changed everything for our lives to put me in a better place. But I needed that lunch and I needed that breakfast at school, you know, and to just have that boom gone for a kid, you know, would put a parent through so much stress. You know, so that was one of the first things I thought of. And then I know people are like, yeah, but schools pack them up and then you can go pick them up at 10 o'clock. And I'm like, how would my mom leave at 10 o'clock? She was working, you know. So all these things went through my mind. Anyway, the fear, you know. But to go back to having that as a kid, even walking up to say, you know, when you have free lunch, you have to say like a code number, you know, to the lunch lady. And just having people hear that, and then you stand out. And I lived in a really nice neighborhood. We lived in an apartment, but, you know, everyone, I always felt like I was different, and everyone was cool and special and had this and I didn't. And that probably wasn't the truth. You know, that's just how kids see it. But I really let the fear of standing out and not belonging and being different. And in drill team, I really wanted to be on the drill team, and then couldn't afford the outfits. But then like the other moms got together and like helped pay for the outfits. And I'm so grateful now that just wonderful things happened to me. But at the moment, you know, it shaped me, always feeling like I had to accomplish things, and I had to be better, and I had to agree with people all the time and be parts of their groups to be accepted. It wasn't acceptance. Being just Terra wasn't enough, you know. So that just really leads to being afraid all the time that you won't be loved, and not you, me, that I won't be loved or won't be cool, you know, won't be a part of this or that. It had a lot to do with, this sounds so cheesy, but it is the truth. It's why I love uniforms so much. I would see kids like playing soccer or doing things or in like Pee-wee cheerleading, and like I just so desperately wanted to be a part of that, you know, but it was expensive and you gotta have someone to drive you there. And I was just like, if I had a uniform, then I would be a part of something and I would be loved and I would have built-in friends and I would be special. And I just, if I could get that uniform, I'm set. You know, my life is going to be good, you know?
That is so interesting to like think about uniforms in that way in terms of like how they make you feel, you know? And gosh, like that, sorry, that just sent me on a whole like, whoa, because it's so true. I mean, when we've done episodes on, you know, like retirement, right, with cheerleading and like the struggles that you go through and accepting who you are, but it's just that dang on uniform makes you feel like you are a part of something huge, and you do feel different wearing it. I mean, it does give you this sense of belonging, the sense of importance and worth, you know? That uniform means a lot. I wouldn't have thought about that connection even at a young age, just like that automatically gives you not a status, but you're part of something.
Yeah, it's legitimacy.
Yes,
that's you're legitimate, you're worthy, you're chosen. They chose you to be a part of that. It's a big deal. I mean, think about when you see someone in their military fatigues or uniform, whatever, in the airport, everyone's walking by going, thank you for your service. Thank you, sir. You go first. Let me pay for that. It's amazing. And it's not just the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader uniform. We all know what it feels like to be in any part of a group, whether it's minor league or military or cheerleading or whatever, that feeling. So you and I, you know, we share that, that feeling, but I felt it very young. I was like, I got to get in one of these uniforms. That's the first thing I noticed about them. And so it is something I've always loved. And like flight attendants, oh my God.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Now you just stare at them like they're just amazing to me for some reason. So, and they're like a part of this special in the air group.
Club.
You know,
yes, for
and they all
sure.
chat and they know the lingo. And I was like, oh, I want to be a part of something that knows the lingo. So all of that, I would say those are the fears of not belonging and standing out too much, but wanting to be special and kind of wanting to take a pencil and erase some of my past and make me fit into this mold that everybody did. And those people who have this set up and were better than me, or they're special, or they have a path that I don't. And I did not look at all of the amazing things, the talents I have and the things that do make me special. So I would say that my journey through dealing with fear has been a lot of, because I felt a lot of that when I was cheering, a lot of it, a lot of fear about, it was just weird. I would be in a stadium. I could be in a stadium full of 100,000 people, or how many people fit in Texas Stadium? I can't remember. A lot.
I was about to say, let's round up.
Or, you know, people asking for lining up for my autograph or whatever, and still felt like, how am I here with all these pretty girls? Like, how did I get here? Do I fit in? Am I good enough? Am I pretty enough? And, you know, I'm like, there's so many times, even growing up, I would be the only Black person I'd ever seen in a room for everywhere I went all day. It still happens. And then in the fashion industry, I don't know if people realize, it is all men. The fabric owners, the mills, the everything. I mean, we make women's clothing, but like my industry is, my customers are, you know, the team owners are men mostly. And then I deal with the directors, their cheerleaders. They're women mostly, but I mean, I'm a factory, so I'm buying machines and negotiations. And so I'm a very much of an outlier in my persona in the fashion and manufacturing industry. Because I mean, I'm a manufacturer. So
wow, I wouldn't even have thought about that.
Yeah, in business too. So it has been I would say that my struggle was realizing, getting to a point of feeling the pain and then realizing, why am I so uncomfortable all the time? I'm tired of it, you know? Mm-hmm. And I would say around 30, you know, is when I'm 45 now, and is when I started really feeling like I'm just exhausted with feeling not good enough. No one knew. I mean, I always looked cute and had it all together, but I was doing my very best, I would say, you know, to survive like anyone else and thrive. But I wanted to be authentic. I wanted to really feel happy inside, and it not be. So I would say that it kind of, I guess, got just to a rock bottom where you start feeling like, what's really going on? So then talking honestly about it, talking to professionals about it, and really starting to get honest with myself. Like how Dr. Phil's like, you ready to get honest, or whatever he says, how's that working out for you?
Right. You're like, okay.
And starting to really get to know myself, starting to be in gratitude. I just try to be in gratitude all the time and say, like, what's great about me? What am I grateful for? I'm tall. I was born in America. Let's just start there. I woke up in America today. How about that? That's enough to get me through the day sometimes, So that was the big pivot, starting to connect with people like you that made me, that I felt good around, that I felt valued around, instead of reaching for and looking for people that I want to be with them because they seem cool, so I'm going to act like whatever they want me to act like, starting to value this kind of connection. And see, like, how do I really feel? And I was like, I feel warm. I'm having a genuine laugh out of, like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I am having a real belly laugh with someone. This is what I want. And so it was going more towards, I think it was just age. Let's just keep it real. I got older. And I got over it. And I
was about to say.
Yeah, that's it. I couldn't just put it one. I got older and I got over it.
But do you feel like, because here I am, I'm 42, going on 43 in November. And I think with the podcast and talking to people, and I'm like, dang, am I forgetting what it was like, in your 20s? Or because you definitely get older and get over it and you're at a space where you just feel so much more comfortable. But I just want people to feel that so much earlier. Like, do you feel like it's a way that you can help? I don't know. Whether they listen to any little, I'm not an expert by any means, but I want young women to start working through and finding that feeling so much earlier, because your 20s can't just be spent worried about stuff that doesn't matter. Like, if you have a choice where you can, like, actually shift your thinking earlier, like, don't wait. That's all I just want people to just know that it's possible to feel that sense of comfort in your own skin earlier. Maybe that's a myth in my mind. I don't know. Do you think?
No, I completely agree. Like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so I'm learning it now when I needed it back then, but let me just, because I've been mad about that. I've been like, God, why? Like, I'm getting this lesson now. Like, I was so uncomfortable for so long, like, why did you make me suffer? I could have been less suffering like 30 pounds ago. Like, why are you doing this to me? But
it's the journey.
The lessons were there. It's just we weren't ready. What would I have done with this knowledge? But at the same time, that is why if someone asked, that is the reason I told those seniors. I was like, "What do you want to know?" Because I'm going to tell you the truth, and it's not my job to pound it into anybody. I'm not a role model. I'm not a parent. I'm just Terra. And if anyone listened to anything, I'm going to tell you, the number one question the seniors had, they were mystified that I wasn't a parent. I mean, they were asking, it was all girls. It was a fashion design class. It just happened to be all girls. So there were questions about fashion and how I got into it and how much money I make. Like, they wanted to know to the number, like, and savings and checking. I mean, they were a trip. But most of the questions were like, as I got older, the seniors were like, well, how did you decide to not have kids? Or how come you don't have kids? Or who's going to take care of you when you get older? Questions about birth control. I mean, they were just could not believe that I was 43 at the time and didn't have children. And how did it just didn't make sense.
Surviving as a woman and without children.
Right. Yeah. How are you a woman? What's going on? The thing was, it's just like, how could you do it why would you choose that? And I told him, I said, it's not about my choice. It is about our choice. And I'm not talking about the political choice that has everybody fighting. I'm talking about it is making it so you can choose what you want to do. I said, you guys are from a small town. So everyone's expecting you to marry who you know right now and stay here and never leave and go and do whatever. And they were all like, yup, this is what you do. You have 2 kids and blah, blah, blah. And especially of, you know, it's like they're categorized into different races too. Like, I should have this many, just by looking at me, I should have this many baby daddies by now or whatever. You know, it is just this typical thing. And I said, there are no rules. You can be a doctor, be a stay-at-home mom, be a designer, have 10 kids, have 1 kid. You can choose to have no kids for no reason. You know, it is, I said, that's the thing, that your future is not defined. You can do whatever you want to do. And having kids is one of those choices too. It is totally in your hands and in your power. And you can decide if you want. You are equally as valuable and perfect if you stay in Texarkana and have 3 kids and marry your high school sweetheart, or if you go to Dallas and become a designer and have no kids. I go, as long as it's what you want to do. Yeah. And they were just like, what? I have a choice, you know? Yeah. So yeah, that's a huge thing about us getting to be what we want to do and not just following that path. And that's what I was doing. I was like, this is what's expected of me. And I'm a lot more comfortable now, not just trying to follow a path that someone expects from me. Yeah. I still, and like I said, I'm so human and I have so many character defects and flaws, but my goals now don't lie in trying to be the coolest kid on the block or accepted by everybody. My friendship circle is really small and that's cool with me.
Yeah. When you think about, like, especially in high school or when you're, you know, younger, like 18, 19, early 20s, you know, I don't think you hear often enough, maybe just that message that's just that real. Like, you can decide. I mean, you have so many decisions that you're faced with, like where to go to college, what type of job to get, you know, what are you going to be when you grow up, kind of questions. And then I think the way that you approach answering those questions is very much influenced by what everybody else expects of you, wants of you. And it's hard to find your own path or create your own path, especially when you don't know all the steps to get where you might be trying to go. So hearing that from you was probably, you know, just in that way that it was delivered was probably just kind of like, it clears so much space and clutter. I feel like I just had this conversation with my niece, and, you know, poor thing's a senior in high school and is going through all of this, you know, I guess I'm graduating, no prom, like all these different.
Right. Yeah. The biggest thing in the world, like how the world is current, like it's the end.
Yes. This is like all she's been waiting all senior year for, and well, all of high school for. And, you know, college decisions coming up, and you could just tell that there was just so much on her around what decision, once there's more clarity around school, like what to do with her life next. And I was like, girl, you can literally do whatever the hell you want to do. Like, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to listen to what I have to say, what anybody else has to say. This is really your opportunity to pick your path. And if you end up picking in something that's not meant for you, or you don't feel good about the choice or decision, guess what? You could change your mind and do something else.
Switch it up.
Change it up. It's okay. You know, like, and it's so freeing when you look at life in that way. I mean, it's hardly ever a straight path. It's sometimes very, very windy, but I think it's perfectly fine for it to be that way. You can turn around, about face, circle 8. I mean, it doesn't have to be a straight line. It's part of that. It's just part of life and growing up. But I think we're so programmed to think that there's just one way of getting, you know, from point A to point B with every goal that you set, whether it's set by you or other people or influenced by other people. But there's so much more power in just knowing that you can do whatever the hell you want. I mean,
oh man, the judgment is just, it's so hard not to hear, you know, because the thing is, I don't even do, like a senior might say, like you said, you're talking to your niece, they'd be like, well, my parents want me to go to college. Okay. I know that does have to be a tough decision if you want to backpack across Europe and they want you to, well, nobody's going to Europe right now, but you know what I mean?
Right.
You want to do something else. But like, I have just been one of those, like, do what I want kind of gals, and that is okay. You know, there's this meme out that my cousin sent to me, and she sent it like, oh, I hate this meme. And it was like, if you don't come out of this quarantine without a side hustle,
yes, I've seen this one.
You're lazy or something like that. I don't know what it says. And it's just like, no, you don't have to do anything, you know? Yes, I pivoted my business and I'm blah, 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 blah. And that is how I am handling this very traumatic experience that is happening in all of our lives. Mm-hmm. That is how I'm handling it, period. And Bill Gates may donate $700 billion and his whole everything. That is way more than I can contribute. And some people might share a message and sit at home, and that is their contribution. They are not going to go out and spread germs. Like, you don't have to be Superwoman. You just have to be a good person, and you have to be kind, and you have to be at peace. That's it. That's really all you got to do. And that might be not having a business. You know, Dallaswear wasn't successful until I started doing it for myself. Because I told you, everything I did was so people would see me and be, you know, and I wanted to be respected, and I wanted to be loved, and people to think I was worthy, and not, you know, I was just like anybody else. And it wasn't because I wanted, yes, I had this talent and I was a designer, but everything I did, I found myself going, what are people going to think of this? As opposed to, now I do think about that, but how are the lives of my employees, and what are my clients? Are they going to enjoy what we're doing and the direction we're going? Is this good for humanity? Is this good for me and my soul? You know, is this going to make money so that other people can do it? But it's not just, what are all the strangers that I don't know, or the people that I didn't like in high school going to think about me? How lame is that? Like, what a waste of time, right?
Yeah.
Time I wasted on that.
Well, let's talk about that. So, I mean, when you started Dallaswear, did you start with audition attire? Like, I guess I'm thinking based off of what you said, that just at a certain point you had to take almost like a leap with your business to focus on what was important to you, and putting yourself out there to grow your business. What was your like big leap that you took where you just said, you know what, I'm doing this?
Yeah, our audition stuff was really where we started. You know, people loved our audition outfits because I was like, this is your chance. You're going out there. And I was like, we were slaying before slay was a word. Like, we were like, me and my little team back there were making audition outfits that were just sickening. Okay. Yes. So that's how we really got started. And then it was one of those overnight things where I'm like, we're too busy. I got to sell online. And I made a website by myself overnight. And then I told my employees the next day, they were actually leaving for the day. And I was like, oh, y'all, hey, we're going to sell online starting tomorrow. And they were like, what? You know? So that was a leap. But the big leap was going to pro stuff, making professional uniforms. Okay. And so this was like 2006. Okay. And then 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. And this was like the real estate bubble. So I had just bought a condo, and I had a retail store, you know, where we sold like all kinds of stuff with rhinestones on it. And then I had the factory where we were doing dance stuff. So things were going okay. And then the economy went kaput, like screech, done. Right. And it was literally, it's legit what like is happening now. You know, it went like skirt. So, oh my gosh. All of a sudden, nobody was spending money on anything that they didn't need. People were losing their homes. Nobody was buying fancy stuff with rhinestones all over it. My business went from here to here. Sorry, it's audio. From way up here, my hands up high, but my head right down low. And then I was just like, what am I going to do? You know, I just bought a condo, and then my retail lease, and all this fabric and stuff, like, who's going to buy this? And I was just like, my company was really tiny then. So what I did was, I'm telling 2 stories in one. I'm like backing way up. Okay.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
So then I got rid of all my employees. I let go of all my employees because I couldn't afford them except for one. And she'd been with me for years. So I kept her. And then I didn't pay myself either. So I worked all day long at the store, not getting paid. I kept my one employee, and then she would close up and I would go wait tables at night.
Wow.
Think about the timing. I was 35 years old. Okay. I went to work at this like really popular, like kind of high upscale, I guess, pizza restaurant. And because I knew I could like make that cash. And I needed it. I really did, to keep my business alive. So at 35 years old, I was waiting tables, and I remember Troy Aikman came in. He was famous, cowboy.
Oh yeah, definitely know Troy. Yeah.
Troy came in, and he sat in my section, and I was just like, I do not want to. I was so embarrassed. I was like, I can't go. Not that he knew me, but it just in my mind.
You're a former Dallas Cowboys player, for people you don't know, right?
Yeah, I was just like, I can't go wait tables. We were in the Super Bowl together. In my mind, I was just like, oh my God. I was embarrassed, but at the same time, like, there's no one to rescue me. I had to eat. I had to keep my business alive. So I waited tables for 6 months, 7 months, more than that, until the economy came back. And I saved all the cash, and I saved my business. And it was my last night picking up my check. And I was like, ooh, before I get my check, can I get my last free shift meal? I was like, let me get my last meal. What can I get? And I was eating my shift meal by myself. And there was a really cute guy sitting at this table. And he started talking to me. And anyway, that was my last night there. I was so excited to get back to my business. But that guy ended up being my husband now.
Stop.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
That's amazing.
So, yeah, we ended up getting married. We met that night, and then I met his mama next week. But still like 2007, right? So my business is building its way back up. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I need to go and do pro stuff. Like, it's time to make that leap. So I was like, I think I had maybe like $1,000 in the bank, and I was like, I want to send something to all these teams. Now, this was like back in the day. It wasn't Instagram and everything.
Yes.
This is when you would send somebody pictures on a disc, like, here's my Nokia kit. Okay. Yes. For all the people out there who don't know what disc is, like, I'm just kidding. I had no idea how to make like a press kit, but I put these pictures on my stuff, and I made like a press kit and like acted like I was this big shot. And I knew that if I sent it to all the NBA teams, I was like, how are they going to open it? Like, it won't get to the right person. So I was like, ooh, if I FedEx it, they'll see it, and everyone opens a FedEx, Mm-hmm. But I was like, ooh, they're like $16 to send overnight each one. So I was like, gamble it, roll the dice. So I sent out one to every NBA director, and it was like $600. And I was like, okay, I'm going for it. I'm going for the last money in the bank. And I did. My gosh. And one team emailed me back, and it was Sabrina Ellison. Yeah. Wow. But she was with the Thunder then.
Oh.
Okay. That was their first season. So I guess she didn't know that we weren't anybody, and she rolled the dice on us. And wow. I was so grateful. So that was my first NBA team, and their stuff looked fantastic. And it just started from there. Another team saw that, and then we just, it really was just going for it and putting myself out there. And that was the big leap, spending that little bit, my rent money, I guess, on going to pro teams after almost losing my business the year before because of the real estate. But there's no rich father. There's no angel investor. There's no family money behind this. It is, Dallaswear has always started with, just hustle straight up,
Oh, and a lot of heart. And I mean, it's amazing to hear that you say that like fear was kind of what you felt was like holding you back in a lot of ways. Cause I just hear nothing but like fearlessness. Like, you know what? Something had happened the day before, and the next day it's like, you know what, we're doing this. I just think that's just so brave and so much.
Oh, I'm still scared. I'm still have fear. That's the thing. I'm going to have fear till I die. You know what I mean? It's like, it still comes, and I still like walk in a room and I'm like, oh, do these people like me? Or, where do I stand on the ladder with these, like who's here and who's smarter and who's this and who do I have to impress? And what, like what, it goes through my mind like anyone else who's in business or who has to be around people for their work or their social life. But I found a way to face it. That's the difference, is I just look at it and I think about the worst thing that can happen. And it's never that I'm going to die. It never is. I go, okay, so what if I go on this podcast and I say something stupid? or I, reveal too much about my business to a competitor, and they think I'm lame or they think I'm stupid. Or I say that when I was the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader that I had a lot of fear and it was a scary and unhappy time, or is anyone going to judge me? I can do that. And I go, well, what if that does happen? If someone does judge me, or if someone, thinks that whatever about Terra, what's going to happen? Nothing. I'm going to be just fine. My side of the street is clean and I'm good. And I will be okay. Even if I do say the wrong thing or forget something, it's fine.
It's that perspective. The best thing that came out of Real Housewives for me was just like, who's going to check me, boo? Like that moment, like.
You didn't get the angle right. You got to go, who's going to check me, boo? Who's going to check me?
Over to the side.
100%. 100%.
Are you going to get a spanking? Like, there's nothing, like you said, what's the worst that can happen? Who's going to come, beating down my door and ready to kick my behind over anything? And it's just, I don't know, that's my attitude. You just stop not caring like it's not important. You can think through issues and, obstacles and stuff like that. But at a certain point, you just, what are you going to do?
It's another really important word is acceptance. I've accepted that, and I still struggle with this, but this is my goal every day, is to have acceptance about who I am and where I came from and what my capabilities are, and to try to be a little bit better and not be complacent, but definitely have acceptance about I'm never going to please everybody.
Yeah.
It is impossible. And it's impossible to stand up to these crazy standards that people have for each other or have for me or society or cheerleaders or women or Black women, like they think Black women are this strong Black woman. Like my God, like we're not made out of stone. I'm just a flesh and blood, there's not fragile women and then strong Black women. It's like we're all, going through the same thing and we're all struggling. I've just had to be maybe a little bit tougher because some things were a little bit harder. Yeah. And that's another conversation for another day, because being a Black cheerleader is a thing, it's a thing. And so I really like that you were saying it's not that that you get to a point where you don't care what people think. You just know that you can't change it. Yeah. And if you're doing what feeds your soul or is the right thing, or you're doing the best that you can freaking do, then it's okay. I really want to reiterate that I still have fears every day about things. I've just practiced. That's what it is. I've practiced looking at those fears right in their face and saying, F you, let's go, because it's not real.
My mom told me when I was a kid, I don't even remember how young, but she said fear is false evidence appearing real. I don't know where she got it from, but it's true. Right. It's not real.
Fear is like completely to think that something so strong that led my life is in my head is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah.
It keeps me from doing something. Like I just turned it kept me from going, I really want this, but I'm not going to do it. Just because of fear.
It's in your head. Yeah.
Right. And I have totally been like rejected. Like, I hate this design, or I don't like you, or I don't want to go on a date with you. Like people deal with rejection. Can you believe somebody wouldn't go on a date with me? But anyway, no. Yeah, right? Rude. Rejection, it's like, come at me now. Like it's, in this business, please, like no one's going to love everything I do. So I think it's just practice. That's the thing. Reminding ourselves we're good the way we are. We were born just fine. And that we're good the way we are. You don't have to sit in this quarantine and come out with a side hustle. You might read 50 books. You might eat ice cream the whole time.
Yes. Either way, you're going to be fine.
Right. Eat the ice cream. Learn dark magic. I don't know what you're going to do or don't. It's fine. I'm going to be making masks and doing that until, until I decide that I'm going to do something different. How about that? And go back to uniforms. We'll see how long that lasts. And then who knows?
You wear so many hats. I love that you mentioned Waitressville because I think that's so exciting too.
Yeah.
You're so dope, dang it. I had questions around a million things. So I have to ask, you danced for this Cowboys for 5 seasons, right? Is that right?
5 seasons.
5 seasons, yeah. Is there anything that you would change about that experience?
How has nobody asked me that in all these years? I get asked everything about cheerleading.
Really?
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, I have run a multi-million-dollar business. I have 2 businesses. I have things that we just talked about kind of are just a few of the stories that I've kind of gone through in my life. You know, I've traveled all over the world, but it's interesting that people still want to talk about, remember back 1,000 years ago and you were, it is the thing. And I know that. And at first I used to reject it so much. Like, I'm a businesswoman. And then, you know, like, why are you bringing it up? You know, and then I'm just like, whoa. This is amazing. You know, in an article, when someone says former Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, blah, 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 I used to be like so annoyed. And now I am so grateful for that. It is a huge part of my story. Mm-hmm. And so I think it was just, that's another fear thing early on. I'm going to only be identified with this and I'm never going to be respected as a businesswoman, blah, blah, blah. You know, so I have to completely not mention it. Like not mention it. And people be like, wait a minute, how have I done all this business with you and you've never mentioned, you know what I mean? They're like, you're on the Cowboys fan. So anyway, I'm glad you asked that because I really love now talking about being a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader because I guess I have the honesty about it now and I look back on it in such a beautiful way. If I could change anything, if it doesn't come right to me, you know, the truth is always on the tip of your tongue, you know, or usually on the tip of your tongue. And I loved my time being a cheerleader. It was hard for me because I don't say for me uniquely as compared to anyone else. I'm saying I'm only talking about my experience when I say for me, because I don't want to speak for other girls. But back in my day, we just didn't make much money. And I know it's not all about the money, and that's a whole other conversation we can have too. But we made $15 a game, 1.5, and then we got to raise to 50. In my 4th and 5th years, I was making money from appearances because I had seniority. But I was also on show group, and in DCC, that is a lot of traveling, a lot. I mean, several weeks in a month. So it was hard to make ends meet. And so suffering financially for me and a lot of people makes you kind of suffer in other parts of your life. It's hard to smile and cheer when you're worrying about how you're going to eat. And so there were times where that part was tough, but dude, I mean, if you'd ask me would I rather eat ramen noodles and be a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader any freaking day.
Day of the week, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Okay? Back then, you know, and so do I advocate this? You didn't even ask. Why am I even answering this? You didn't even ask this. And I'm being controversial for no good reason. Oh my God.
And we can always edit it out.
Saying? Like this, I'm like, why would I even bring it up? Like I was doing good, just talking to myself.
I'm just not going to ask for any landmine questions, but
I know. But since I started, right, I totally advocate for, you know, cheerleaders being paid their worth. But I'm just I can only speak to my experience 7 years ago being a cheerleader. That part was difficult for me, so I did suffer in that way. But I can't think of anything I would change right now if I could, because I had a blast and I was doing the best I could at that moment. If I could have a wish for myself and just be magic, I would do exactly what you suggested earlier, and I would have had more peace of mind and more self-awareness and more fear-fighting abilities and more acceptance back then. I would have had the tools to deal with some of the pain I was going through. But when the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? Yeah. So everything that has happened in my life has put me where I'm supposed to be and made me tough. Like, I don't have a college degree. I didn't finish college. Everything I have learned, everything has been inexperience and hustle and getting out there. And that's it. I didn't have a dad teaching me how to do stuff and balance checkbooks and and learn all the things and life and business. And I just learned everything the hard way, you know? And I'm grateful for that because, the hustle 101 is what helps you be able to turn your business around in 24 hours. Because I don't play by the rules because I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
I just freaking do. I just do it.
I'm obsessed with you. Jeez.
I'm like, I don't play by the rules because I don't know the rules. Yeah.
Right?
Or
make mine up along the way. I mean, that's
right?
just whatever it takes to get it done.
Dude, just freaking get it done. It's like, just get it done. Like, I had to let my pattern maker go. So the next day I had to make a pattern. What's a girl going to do? A girl's going to make a pattern.
Right.
And how did we learn how to make a pattern? We learned how to do it on our own many years ago. It's like I just didn't have what it took to make sure all the pictures you see, you've been to Dallaswear, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I am so grateful now that I have an amazing staff and so many talented people that can do so many things. But along the way, I learned how to do so many things because I couldn't afford to pay for them. Yeah. All the videos you see on Dallaswear, I edited.
Stop.
All the pictures I shot.
Stop.
Every single photograph.
Okay. Okay, now I feel like a big time stalker, but I remember looking at your ads from 2011 was my and the Ultimate Cheerleading website that just the place for everything, all things cheer. Just seeing your ads, your banner ads and stuff. I just feel like I've seen your business grow. And it's so funny to actually finally meet you.
I love that.
I'm blown away because the fact that you're doing it all yourself is just seriously just gives me chills. I'm so excited to share this episode with everybody because everybody knows your stuff. We did an episode with our girlfriends called Fresh Out the Runway, just going through all of the uniforms and stuff.
Yes!
But we were just oh my God, Dallaswear is everywhere. People know your designs. And so just being able to get to know you and all the hard work and everything that you've done to build your business and how you've done it, the grit and everything that went into it is just I'm so excited to share this.
I am so grateful to meet you today. It is reminding me, right in this moment, I'm feeling I know I should be feeling from the things you just said, ooh, Terra, you're so awesome. Go Terra. But what's going through my mind is my team and my staff. I mean, I was the head designer for so many years and the design director. And now I'm the creative director, which is an entirely different role that heads over several things. But I am not the design director. I'm not the head designer. I hired someone 3 years ago to take over for me so that I could, build the business in a different way. And that was a super tough thing. You know what I'm saying? To just be now you design this stuff based on a creative direction, and so, and I chose our head designer is Kate, and she's amazing. So many of the directors have met her, and to have someone who whether it's Chanel or Fendi, there's a creative director, and then there's a design director who is the one who makes the details come together. So going from the head designer and then passing that on to someone else, it's something that you have to do to grow. I have such a particular vision for the marketing that, I do still take the photographs because I can just get something out of a girl because I know what it's like to be behind the camera.
Yeah.
I used to shoot all the video, and now we hire, we have a videographer and we have a full art department, and I don't have to do all that stuff. Anymore. It's been years since I've had to do that, but that's the thing. And that's how when you know every aspect I can sew everything under this roof. I can repair the machines. I can do the marketing. I can design everything. I used to do the books. So when someone really knows their business back and forth, two things. It's hard to step back and let someone else do it. That is a process in itself to, say, you know what, this person does it differently, and that's okay. Let me learn from them. My head designer's over 10 years younger than me, and that's good. And then there's artists below her who are 10 years younger than her. That's good. You know what I'm saying? Because we want to be fresh,
I'm looking at you as a one-woman show, but I really hear it you have a wonderful team that you've assembled and learning and growing to trust them to be able to execute based on your vision. And I wish they could all like squeeze into that space.
I know.
Give them props, but I just think it's so dope what you guys are
like once everybody is like, we're a little bit back to normal, we need to have like a company photo shoot. You know what I mean?
That would be awesome. Yes.
Yes.
Be an amazing way to celebrate too what you have accomplished by then.
I think so too. Like everybody, like makeup done, photo shoot, like
yes.
We've never been in front of the camera.
Fiance fan going and just
get the fan lit. Everyone have the cheerleading experience. Yeah, this is no one. What I have done with Dallaswear and Waitressville, with Waitressville, a whole different conversation. We can talk if you ever want to get together and talk about a lot more businessy stuff than cheerleading stuff. That's tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of uniforms. Because, a restaurant can have 5,000 servers, a chain, and then they turn them over all the time. So it's a completely highly manufactured side of the business that we handle too. And so in a completely different marketing thing. So there's a lot that goes on under this roof, and we could not do it. I am such a creative, could not be successful without an awesome president. My husband, who was fantastic, he is like, how many squares of toilet paper are you using? How much of this? What kind of, that's what we need, because I would buy a blimp with, a Dallaswear on it, so for advertising. So to grow a business like this, it takes a leader, someone that people can respect because they clean the toilets themselves. They can do everything under the roof. It's not just like someone comes in and they tell you to do something that they've never done before. And I do take pride in that. It's like someone telling you what it's like to be a cheerleader who's never been a cheerleader,
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what thanks though, It's the power of sharing the experience with someone who gets it,
Yeah. And it has to carry over in the way that your uniforms work for these teams and dancers, because having been a dancer, you know what it feels like to feel secure or insecure in your clothing for fear of things falling out or not feeling like it's a flattering look. And I can just, imagine from the testimonials and just the way that your uniforms look good on every freaking body, like it has to help that you've had this background, obviously, as a dancer, understanding what the feedback you're probably getting from directors of what they're trying to accomplish and understanding how it works, like how we're marketed and if we need to tone things down or not so much or whatever, like you get it. That has to just help tons to understand your market and be able to.
It does. It totally does. I know what it feels like to have on something that feels like a cheap Halloween costume, or something that's like the Falcons or the Seahawks or the Broncos or the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader from when you feel so good, like a million, like I know that feeling and I want to give it to the girls. It's got to function. We don't stand there. If you feel like your boob is going to pop out, you're not going full out. I've been there. You know what I'm saying? It's just not going to happen. And then you're worrying about this. And when you have a run in your hose? Oh my God. And it's like your life is over. And you're just like, I cannot wait till halftime so I can change these hose. And it just ruins your whole mojo.
Yes. It totally.
Just do a little run, And it's so, we do care. Fit is, that is the thing I'm the most proud of about our team and our design and how Dallaswear has always been. Fit is everything. Yeah. No one can touch our fit, and you can copy our style, but you will never have that Dallaswear fit.
I could put on one of those uniforms. The Seahawks dancers did finally get to wear some of your stuff this year.
Okay. Can we just talk about the Seahawks for a minute?
Yes. That's my former team. So I hear everything.
Okay. So did you know? Okay. So my aunt was a Seahawks cheerleader, the oldest cheerleader they ever had. Her name is Patrice Watson.
What?
Yolanda Patrice Watson, yes. And she cheered for like 10 years, and she had all these articles written about her. She was over 40 as the oldest NFL cheerleader.
I'm looking her up.
You have to. And she cheered, she was a Kansas City Chief cheerleader, and she was like 18 or 19. And then, so I just looked up to her. She's my mom's youngest sister. Like my whole life, I looked up to her. And we were actually cheering at the same time. And I was like 20 and she was like 40. I know, for the Seahawks. Yeah. She cheered under Sherry. Well, everybody cheered under Sherry.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So anyway, totally amazing. But like seeing the change with the Seahawks this year, and their uniform change, one of the proudest moments for us, for them. Like we were so happy that that change was so dramatic. I mean, a flannel and a moto jacket, you know, getting like a glam grunge look like that is there anything more Seattle than that? To go from, y'all had like,
we had the
tightest, I mean, like it was glam, all the stones.
Yeah.
Like so feminine, so glam, to going to a sporty, co-ed, grunge look was just, it was unheard of.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did that and did it so well and that we were able to be a part of it was just so good. The team here, Kate, knocked it out of the park. They did that, right?
Gosh. For us, I mean, we were just trying to like piece together all the changes, right?
It's heartbreaking and
emotions,
incredible at the same time. It's acceptance, but it took a minute. It was dramatic. Am I right? Like, you're like, our legacy is just gone. It's just gone. You had to feel like that.
It was all of that. And then it was hard to process the change because of that. But I mean, understanding like wherever the vision came from, like where they were going with the new team and getting to a place of acceptance. I think it definitely took like a while to just process, but like, I mean, they looked great out there and comfortable. You know, you had the guys. Did you do the guys' uniforms too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, I mean, I can only imagine just trying to, as a leader of the team, for Courtney, probably just trying to manage all of that and just having a vision come to life that, you know, that you can feel good about, because it was a dramatic change for everyone.
Can you imagine the stress and the hate first year and this change, you know, because people are going to hate anything you do. You know, there's going to be haters, but my God, the response that she got, she knocked it out of the park. She killed it. She's so incredible and she's so good to work with. And man, I did not realize how incredible. I always thought of the Seagulls as so beautiful. I didn't concentrate as much on the talent because y'all were just so pretty, and I was just looking at all the rhinestones.
Yeah.
But my God, the talent. I mean, leaps. I was like, okay. Yeah. I mean, you're super talented. But here's how. You want to know how I feel about this whole thing?
Yes, please.
Here is why the Seagulls legacy is the Seagulls legacy and can't be touched. Because the new team is not the Seagulls.
Right. It's just not.
That's it.
Yeah.
The Seagulls, it is not erased. It is revered. It is what it is. It is that uniform. It is you girls. It is Sherry too, you know, who, I mean, made all that happen. And that look, what you guys had, it's iconic, it is identifiable, and the Seagulls will always be identified with that. It cannot be touched or changed, and it wasn't changed. We didn't change the Seagulls. This is something completely different. I mean, once a Seagull, always that look. No one will ever say this, oh, you were a Seagull, and think of what's now. They're going to think of the glamour.
Thanks for sharing that, because I think what it was hard, it was probably in the words that they had when they made the announcement of the shift, but it just didn't read that way, that it was just a new team. But I think it felt like an erasure, you know, because from little things like our social media handles being gone, like taken off Instagram or whatever, or just nothing on the website, nothing that would ever show that you actually existed at any given point. But but regardless of that, and like you said, it's still, that's our legacy, and it can't be, you can't erase that. Like, you can't.
No, there are people, think of all your fans. There are just people who love you, period. I mean, there are people who still, and this is just down in Texas, but like, they'll say, do you remember the Derek dolls? And that was the Houston Oilers, because that thing where the oil comes out, it's called an oil derrick. They had the derrick dolls. Those were, I mean, this is like 80s, like a bazillion years ago, and it still comes up, you know? And it's just like when something is legendary and it's iconic and it's a thing, it just can't be touched. And if there are Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders stop today and it's different and they have a co-ed team, my heart would break.
Yeah.
But you can't touch my 5 years and 7 USO tours and all of that. That happens. And that was a thing. And I feel the exact same way about the Seagulls, and everybody I know does too.
Wow. That means so much. I think I definitely, like you said, got to a place of acceptance around it, but it was definitely a process in getting there. But I think because it felt like it was being erased, but you're right, it can't be. It can't be.
It can't be. No. I have the pictures, okay? It happened.
Oh my God.
I have the sore hips and the sore knees. This happened, okay?
Right? To take it back to how you view uniforms, this is kind of one of the big defining things about who you are as a pro cheerleader is just that uniform that you get to wear that you have so much pride in, you take such good care of, you hand wash, this is your prized possession. The one thing when you make the team that you just cannot wait to put your hands on. And for you to have contributed so many uniforms throughout our industry, it's just insane. I'm just so excited to watch you guys continue to evolve, and all praises for being able to shift gears in this very, very important way. I mean, just give your team a big fat hug from the Pro Cheerleading podcast. Like, seriously, like.
I am going to play this for them, and they may be surprised because, I mean, we talked about things today that, you know, that people don't know about me. I mean, I talk about Dallaswear and about Dallas being a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, but whether it's the owner of any company, you know, where everyone has a story.
Yes.
You've got a story, you know, and that human connection, I think we're going to come out of this crisis so much more connected to people because we're missing it. Like, I haven't hugged anybody but my husband in 2 weeks. That's creepy for me.
Yeah,
that's creepy for Texans. I mean, we hug, you know, and not even hug, even a handshake.
Right.
It's not cool.
Yeah. Well, I definitely feel that. And that's one of the things that I'm most looking forward to is just that shift where when you see someone in public and you make eye contact and you're just like, we got out of this, you know, or just appreciating those little things. And I mean, I feel it even just taking a walk, noticing things in my neighborhood that I probably overlooked a million times, drove by a million times. I'm looking at trees differently, like all things that, you know, probably just taken for granted. But it's that connection too with other people where I think we'll just all feel a lot more like we're part of a larger, global community too, not just what's happening in our own backyard, but feeling connected to people all over because of us surviving this.
It happens like that sometimes. I remember I had a serious sinus surgery. I've got TMJ and sinus problems, and I will just keep going. I have to be bleeding out of my eyeballs to just stop. You know what I'm saying? It's women are like that. It's what we do. You know, we just keep going, you know, think of all the moms out there. They don't have time to have a sinus infection. You just keep going, you know? And so I was brought to, I had to have surgery and had to take this time off. And I was thinking in my mind, well, I'm just going to pop back in. It's going to take, I'm going to heal faster than anybody in the world. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. It's like God, whatever higher power you believe in, sometimes has to take you to your knees or flat on your back. And that's what I was. And you have to get flat on your back. And that is what the whole world, or at least our country, is getting forced to do right now. Yeah. Everyone has to rest and reset. And it's weird. Yeah. But I love how you said that. We're all kind of looking at each other like we're going through it together, whether you're rich or poor. We're going through it.
And we'll all be stronger and I hope better on the other side of it, just from having ways of connecting and feeling like you're helping other people or just empathizing with other people, praying for other people, whatever it might be, just to have that level of like connection. From being like all sad and butthurt because I felt like I didn't have anything to talk about for the podcast. Like my last episode is so pathetic. It's like 15 minutes long and I'm just like, it's just so sad. I was just crushed inside recording it and didn't feel like there was any content to keep delivering. And it was just all sad news. And then to have this virtual happy hour that I was trying to keep connected with everyone who's listening or cares or wants to connect, whatever. And Michelle Vaughn has been at each one that we've had. And I brought up that you were making, PPE from your factory. And she was like, I love Terra. She's so amazing. I'm just so thankful that we were able to connect. And
I love that. Because I am like a stan. I am a total stan for her. I can dance, but I can't choreograph, And so when I look at that, I'm just like, I get my entire life. So when she messaged me, I was like, oh, it's just like, you feel like, oh my God, this cool person knows I exist,
For sure.
Funny how we are such fans of each other.
Yes.
Like, I remember one time I was at, I think the cheerleaders were doing, God, what were they doing at the mall? They were doing something, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and my heart started to beat. And I was just like, oh, they're so pretty. Oh my God, I gotta go get an autograph. And I was just like, I used to be one, but I still get so excited, even if it's like, whether it's minor league or anything, it's just like, oh, cheerleaders, or dancers, we get hype and we totally get that. So getting asked to talk to you today, I was so honored. And then the fact that, Michelle Vaughn was like hooking this up. I'm a stan of hers. I'm a stan of the whole dance community that is like giving us life right now. And all the dances and all that stuff on Instagram. Thank you, because none of us can take classes. None of us can do anything.
Right.
There are no videos to watch, no games. We're freaking out. Keep dancing for the love of God. Give me something to look at. Yeah. So I'm so grateful. Is there anything else you wanted to ask me from that paper before? Go ahead.
I just love you. If I just say that, I just absolutely.
I love you too.
So technically, this is a bonus episode, but each episode I always ask, it's like drop it like it's hot is what I call it, but it's a chance to ask some questions. First,
like rapid fire?
Rapid fire.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Let me take a drink of my back. Hold on. All right.
It'll be fun and quick and painless.
Okay.
You ready?
She ready. Yeah.
All right. Favorite style of dance?
Like cabaret, like jazz, like,
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
it's like Chicago, like Broadway. Like I love watching that. Yeah, that's my jam.
Okay. Biggest lesson you learned about auditions?
Biggest lesson I learned about auditions was bring snacks. First year, got super hungry, almost passed out. Snacks.
That is a good behind point because you almost would think that you aren't allowed to, and you can never bring food any other time. I feel
Facts.
Right. But anyway, good one. Okay, dance song that is on repeat in your playlist. Hopefully, you're listening to music while you're working.
Is there any question? It's Back That Ass Up by Juvenile, like 100%.
Yes.
I mean, when you hear the music and everybody's like, everybody. Yeah. Always. Every day, always.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Favorite musical performer that dances?
Oh, man, that's a hard one for me. Okay, musical performer that dances. So not the best dancer, but my favorite. Okay, don't come for me. I'm being honest. Okay? None of y'all come for me.
No judgment.
I know this person is not a dancer and they're not that great, but I will watch Lady Gaga and her like whole dance production any day. It brings me tears. I could watch the Super Bowl performance a million times. Brings me tears.
Okay. No,
she knows how to do a production. I want a whole stage full of people. I want Janet. I want the whole thing. Okay, never mind. Not Gaga, Janet. There we go. Done. Okay.
I feel the Gaga one. I do. She's like I don't want to say she set a trend in that way, but I feel like stage performances kind of evolved around Lady Gaga's time in terms of like
100%.
Yeah.
It went back to the thing. Remember when everyone had 900 dancers on the stage back in the day?
Yes.
That's what I want. I don't want a rapper with like 2 girls. I want
light people up and down the stage.
everything. I want Hammer. I want like all of the things. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. 80s or 90s dance music?
90s, 100%. Velvet DeVoe, 100%. 100%.
Let's see. Cake or pie?
Cake. Who said pie?
I'm not a pie girl.
Girl, cake any day.
Cake. Okay. Spirit animal?
Oh, a cat, 100%. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know that there are 2 things I love. I love America and I love cats, and not in that order. So I have a cat. His name is Mr. T because he has like a black mohawk, and that's my homie. That's my soulmate. That's my ride or die. He's in all my pictures, and to love me is to love my cat, and that is okay with me that I'm a cat lady. So yeah, a cat, 100%.
Okay. Ooh, let me see. Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni. Yeah, basic F, love it. Like, I don't want black olives and all the pineapple and all the things, right? I just, like, I could have just a cheese pizza, but just like cheese with pepperoni, thin. That's what, yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Favorite emoji?
Okay, real quick. I used to say that cheerleading was like pizza. That was my thing. People say, what was it like being a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader? And I say, it was like pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still pretty damn good. It's pizza. Like, even the worst pizza, the worst day, it's still pizza.
And you're still going to eat it.
So, like, this may be cafeteria pizza on this particular day, but, you know, I'm eating it because it's pretty, I mean, it's still pizza, you know. Sometimes it was perfect thin crust style. Sometimes it was thick. And sometimes it was cafeteria, the rectangle. But it was still pizza.
It was the hardest cardboard, but it was still.
Favorite emoji? The poop. 100%. I love the poop.
Okay. Are you a texter or a talker?
Texter. If you call me, I'm like, what? Like, if I saw my best friend's phone number, like, dialing me, I would be like, what has happened? I'd be terrified to answer. I'd be like, someone's dead. What? Someone's giving away free pizza and cake. I better answer. Yeah. Text me. Unless you are bleeding. You better be bleeding. I swear to God. Right? You're a talker. No, you're a talker because you're.
I am a talker, but the funny thing is, like, do not leave me a voicemail though. Like,
I don't know how to check my people. Like, I left you a voicemail. I'm like, how do you even? I don't know
that anymore.
Here's what's funny. So I don't even know how to check my voicemails, and then someone will be like, "I left you an important voicemail, and you didn't check it." So I'm like, like twice a year I'll check my voicemail, and I'll check it, and my husband knows I don't check it, and so he's left me these funny messages.
Oh,
that's so cute. And I'm like, 6 months ago, you would just sitting and waiting for me to hear this, and he's like, yeah. And I'm like, I do not have a patience for a prank like that. Like, I need it now. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a texter.
That is hilarious. Okay, couple more. What was your last Halloween costume?
Oh, last year. Oh, okay. Here's something about me.
Okay.
I have a dream, and I'm putting it out in the universe today.
Okay.
I want to be a meme pretty bad. Like, that's my dream. But like, naturally, like, organically, you know what I mean? Like, I can't force it, you know? Like,
right, because then it won't
like
be.
Squat day, like, I want to be like a meme, like, it just happens, okay? And so I love memes so much. So last year, the meme that I was Dave Chappelle with the money and the crown.
Yes.
Yeah, the money and the crown. Here, I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to show you. It was the money and the crown with the fur coat. So
epic. My God.
So freaking epic.
Stop it. You pulled that shit off.
Right?
Oh,
obsessed. I'm like, who wore it better? And I mean, it was.
Please tell me people knew who you were.
Okay, everybody in the front office knew who I was. Like, some of the
Okay.
Not some of the older people knew who I was, but I showed them the picture and they were like, oh, I've seen that. They didn't watch it. They just know the meme was like some rich guy or whatever. But yeah, obsessed. So that was my last.
Oh my goodness.
The year before that, my husband and I were Run DMC and we like full Adidas, full situation.
Yeah.
Did like break dance, whole thing, did it upright. But yeah, I'm usually going to be a meme or something ratchet.
Okay. I love it. I love it. I had this whole dream. Okay, now, especially because you make things, I'm probably going to be like, maybe you can make my dreams come true. But I wanted to be the original queen from Coming to America. I had this whole vision. I can't tell you how hyped I was around this whole idea. I thought I had the dress that was close enough. I was going to do the hair. I was going to do the whole thing. I was ready to hop on one leg and everything. And it did not come together. So
you could 100%. Wait a minute. Didn't Beyonce do her whole family like that? Not Beyonce.
She did, because it was her daughter that ended up doing it.
Ivy was the...
Yeah, but I was going to do it even, I mean, not for nothing. I was determined to have it nailed. I couldn't find any Pinterest picture, prom picture, nothing that had it like how I planned to do it. And it just...
You would pull that off so good. Like,
I really...
You were
yes, I was ready. I was
okay,
ready.
So can I tell you about Coming to America?
Yes.
Okay, so that movie had such, I think, an impact on like just the women in that movie were so amazing and so pretty, and the fashions were, I know people really focus on Eddie Murphy, but for girls, we talk about the fashions and the dance. Oh my God, don't even. Okay.
Yes.
So my wedding gown was pink and strapless. It wasn't the exact style of hers, but it was pink, strapless, and huge and big because it had such an impact on me. Like, you remember her pink wedding gown?
Gosh, yes, the one at the very end. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's beautiful.
And I was like, I remember I went and it was the first dress I tried on and I was by myself and I just wasn't like very bridey. I was like, let me just go and find a dress and it'll be fine. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a pink dress because I'm paying for it and I was 38 when I got married and I was like, I can do what I want. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to wear a pink dress. Who says I can't?
Yeah. Who's going to check me?
Who's going to check me? And nobody checks me, right? But I was still like, wait a minute, can I wear a pink dress? So I called my best friend and I was like, I need you to come up here. I'm trying to be like, I'll do what I want, but I don't know if I can wear a pink dress. Is this crazy? And she came up and she looked at it and she was like, oh, bitch, you can wear a pink dress. Yeah, do it. So yeah, that movie had as much fashion impact on me as it did on you.
Oh my gosh. I'm still obsessed with that movie and Coming to America 2 better not disappoint. Anyway, I can go on and on about Coming to America, but I love that
100%. Yeah.
Oh
I would do any costume from that. Like I would do McDowell's. Like how cute would that be? The best. I love it.
Well, let me ask one more.
Okay.
If you could travel back in time, like decades, what period would you go to?
Okay.
For fashion, let's just, maybe if you need to narrow it down a little.
Okay. Because to be like all weird about that question, there's no decade better for Black folks than whatever one we're in now.
That's why I was kind of like, every time
I know people ask them, I'm like, tomorrow is the best day for white people. Okay, I know what you're asking. For fashion, okay. Mm-hmm. So for me, I think fashion is when you think about it, not just who you are, because right now my style is very like designer tennis shoes and like a designer tee and then thrifted blazers and thrifted jackets. I have either like something I wear either costs like $1,000 or like $2,000. I will wear what I want, period, even if it came from Walmart or if I had to save up for it or buy it vintage, Balenciaga or whatever. So that's my current style. But in my dreams, I am like kind of like a very 60s full Coco Chanel tweed outfit with pillbox hat and like a full, I love a matchy.
Okay.
So in my dreams, I'm walking through an airport in like with a roller bag that is full tweed and maybe houndstooth print and houndstooth print pillbox hat, houndstooth print jacket, and exactly, and the skirt and the pumps, and I'm just like, just complete style, kind of, Jackie O-ish.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, like a full ridiculous. The ridiculous part of it is that everything matches, even the purse and the umbrella, and you're just like, this is a lot, because I mean, this is how I look on my day off. I mean, I'm a lot, but at the same time, it's just a classic style and a good fit. That's the thing. I like to be comfortable, and couture clothes are comfortable, but also this is my favorite white tee, So yeah, if I could go back, I would be just like full Chanel tweed suit and just
I love it.
Kind of Mad Men, living my best.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
Oh my gosh, for a period.
But like, couldn't you do like 70s bell bottom too? Because like, I'm not
That's
mad.
where I was kind of going.
I'm not mad at that either.
I kind of feel that.
Platforms. Ugh.
I look at my mom's pictures, but like when I was, I was born in the 70s, and I just see it as just such a dope time for Black women, especially in defining, oh my gosh, their beauty. And she just was so badass to me, I would say the 70s.
70s. I could do Thelma from Good Times all day long too. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. That was a cool, comfortable look time too. Like I love the look of the 80s, but those outfits were not comfortable. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right. They weren't,
and we make a lot of jokes about uniforms, like the sequin feel great? No. Does it look great? Yes. A lot of times we have to wear things, beauty is pain, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
In the bigger sense, it is important to feel confident, not just comfortable, but confident, because sweats are comfortable, but that confidence. And bell bottoms made your butt look good and your legs look slim, and your waist look tiny, and that's why you had confidence in them. And if you're wearing a couture suit, you feel confident too, because that was expensive and made to fit, just like a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader uniform, made to fit you. So you got the right idea. We both do. It's all about confidence you get in an outfit.
Yes. Feeling like you are just...
We came full circle, didn't we? Like back to
I know I have stolen you away for so long, but seriously, Terra, this was therapeutic for me, just because, like I said, of just from going from like, I have nothing to talk about, nothing to share, and it's on hiatus until Lord knows when, to feeling like, no, gotta talk to her. And then for this just to be shared out with everybody. I mean, I don't do the podcast for numbers or anything. I just feel like you said, everybody has a story. And for our space, especially, like, we might get like 5 little blips of a bio up online. And I just know every person in our space has a story to tell, and are so encouraged by hearing about other people. And I'm just so excited to share this with them, because you're so freaking amazing. Like, I mean, person, as a business owner, I mean, as a humanitarian, even, just like, I'm not trying to just blow it up just because. I just really feel like you're an awesome person. And I feel so lucky to have been able to talk to you and meet you, and just want to share you with everybody possible. So I thank you so much.
I am so grateful to have been able to talk to you today. This is one of the first times this week my shoulders have not been earrings, like up.
That's such a good way of putting it, earrings.
Yeah, I don't really get to talk about this kind of stuff, especially lately. And I don't get to, when I do get interviewed about something, it's never by a cheerleader. So it's not talking about stuff we can totally relate to. And as cheerleaders, we're expected to be happy all the time, and we go through stuff, and I don't know about you, but we were told never to complain,
Oh yeah.
You don't complain, you don't ask for shit, it's just, you're not supposed to talk about it. You are there to be just a source of joy. And I like that part of it, the idea behind it, but it's not no one can live like that all the time. And all of us do have stories. So even thinking that every cheerleader, I mean, I hope maybe that, when someone comes on, that they feel encouraged to dig deep and tell a story, whether it is embarrassing or whatever it is, because we do have stories. We're not just, we're not Barbie dolls. We're not plastic. We are real people who did something extraordinary. And to get there, man, what we went through, each and every girl, even if their life seems perfect. Wouldn't it be so cool if you were able to hear these people who you think are perfect talk about their imperfections or how they weren't perfect, and you can be like, okay, I can be a cheerleader and not be perfect, and not and have or go through times where I feel unsure or scared or poor or stupid or ugly or miserable. I can be miserable,
Yes. That's okay. That's allowed.
And so it feels good. Like you said, even if one person listened to this, it was good for me to have the honesty about it and tackle my fears about talking about it with you, and you giving me a place to talk about it in general, and even just a source of joy this week.
Oh my gosh.
Because this is the end of my day. Everybody's gone. I'm done after this, and I'm going to go home feeling so good about I have a new friend. I mean,
you made me cry, but I'm like, I hope this isn't the last time I talk to you.
Nope, that's it. Bye.
Deuces. You have so much to offer. I think we touched on so many different things, but there's just so much that I would love to dig deeper on. I'd love to have you back on.
I would love to, yeah. We'll make another time to talk. It was a joy, and we're sisters. That's it. All of us, all cheerleaders, we're all sisters.
One big family.
A great place to come to at a time like this,
Everything that we touched on was just so heartfelt, and I think it'll inspire people just to get involved in one way or the other, just try to do whatever they can in their own space and world to help.
We'll tell them to spread our website, which is now, Dallaswearuniforms.com, but now we make PPE.com. That's what it's about right now, and I will get back to uniforms when the time is right and when the state and the country say I can, but for now, it is crunch time for all of us, and I hope that all of our clients and all of my cheer friends and everyone is with us when we come back. I think they will be.
They will be. Absolutely will be.
That's my hope. But right now, doing what we can for this country and our state and our folks. And my God, what's going on in Seattle? Dude, y'all have been on ultra deep lockdown. Are you still in Seattle?
I still am, and
girl,
I mean, it's encouraging to think it's possibly working to flatten it, but it was scary for it to start here and with the elderly facility that was out in Kirkland, and just the information has just crept up week to week, right, of like what was actually going on. And it sounded like it was confined to that one facility, and I'm like, oh, okay, not that bad, and then it just exploded. But it's been, I think people have been compliant here, which I think makes a huge difference. There really wasn't any hesitation around like, do I really have to listen to this? Or people are listening and staying home. There was one weekend, because Seattle's crappy weather most of the time, where it was really nice. I think there were a lot of people at parks and just trying to get outdoors, and they basically had to move to just taping everything off. And but for the most part, it seems like people get it, and they're just trying to do whatever they can to, like, I don't get the sense that it's like we're not New York City right now with it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. You guys did follow the rules. But also, like Florida and Texas were like, what?
Yeah.
You're not going to tell us what to do? I'm not making fun of our state. I'm just saying all of this stuff is a big deal until you see, it's hitting home. And what matters is that when the rules come down, people are listening to them and they're staying in and doing what they're supposed to do. Our factory, people come in, we're about to start taking everyone's temperature twice a day, and we're washing and doing all the things, but we are coming to work. And then everyone, when leaves, I'm like, y'all go home, don't go anywhere, don't do nothing, because someone's got to work at the grocery store. Someone's got to make PPE. Someone's got to do whatever. So I am with you on following the rules right now. It's not cute. It's not cute to be out and about. Well, I can't wait to talk to you soon, and cheers to all my cheer sisters, and I love you all, and please reach out to hospitals, nursing homes, anyone who needs the real surgical masks, not the N95s, but the basic ones. Anyone can wear them. Then you just go to the site, and they come in packs of 50. Boom, there you go. They're disposable ones, but they're the good ones where the droplets don't get through, so nobody else's nasty gets in your area. Keep your area clean. I love you. Talk to you soon. Cheers to you and everybody.
Same. Have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
All right, bye, babe.
Thanks so much for listening to the Pro Cheerleading Podcast. You can follow your favorite podcast on social media at Pro Cheerleading Podcast on Instagram, at Pro Cheer Podcast on Twitter. We're on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can support your favorite podcast on Patreon. Until next time, keep your eyes on the sidelines.